What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunched Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Malik Scott, Deontay Wilder. Malik Scott. Wilder said this about Malik. He said, "It ain't so much what Malik Scott taught me, but brought out of me what I've already known." Okay. He also went in depth. He said, "It ain't so much of what he has taught me." Wilder told co-host Kenneth and Michael Rothenthal, he said, "It's just so much of what I've already known that he's brought out of me." You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, when they see me, they gonna be like, "Oh, Malik taught him this and that." And Malik will tell you himself, "It ain't nothing I taught you, bro. It's just what I've been able to bring out of him." Let me stop for a second, okay? First off, if what Wilder has been practicing, okay, versus what he's known, okay, so it's basically, this is what you have to think about. Is it something that he never knew? Or is it something that he never practiced? Okay, those are two different things. And I think this is the problem. I think people misconstrued the fact that that Malik Scott has taught him something new. Well, I don't think that at all. And I think Deontay Wilder doesn't want to give credit to Malik Scott as far as him knowing that, because this is something that he already was shown. So if you already was shown something, you already known something. But better yet, it's more like something that he was able to bring out. What that means is Malik Scott was able to open his eyes or open his interest in training like he fucking supposed to. Okay, so when he says, because a lot of people, they say me, they're going to be like, "Oh, Malik Scott taught you this and that." And he said, "It ain't got nothing to do with what he's taught me. It's what I've already known." He says that my previous trainers couldn't do. See, that's where I'm going to stop there. It ain't the fact that his previous trainers couldn't bring it out of him. It was the fact that any time you come into a training camp, if you're not willing, you're not receptive to learn or to want to practice what someone's shown you, it's hopeless. Okay? So what Malik Scott has actually done for Deontay Wilder, he has appealed to Wilder to open up the idea of practicing something that he probably was shown by Mark Breland. But that doesn't mean that he practiced it. And when you don't practice something, you're not going to use it. Why do you think Wilder was so, quote unquote, one-dimensional in his fights? Use either a jab to the stomach, a jab upstairs to find out where the right hand is, and that's it. If he hurts you, he's going to windmill you. That's why there was no real technique. That's why he never really finished well. He looked like he was fucking skipping rope and shit, right? With two ropes and shit, you know what I mean? And the person jumps in the middle and they start skipping. That's why when he fights like that, you see him doing that windmill. Because no one, or I'm not going to even say no one taught him. I would say at this point, he didn't want to learn what people was trying to show him. And he went farther to the point where not only did he want to learn it, he told or advised whoever would get him to do whatever they wanted him to do, they would either get fired or reprimanded. Okay, so that's what that's really about. Malik Scott, I think that ass beating gave Malik Scott access. Like Malik Scott said, he went to me the day of the fight and said, "I want you to be my trainer." So he had already fired and made a decision. Why though? Why did he decide to do that? Because obviously he wasn't in shape. So if there is any conspiracy about anything, it would be maybe I wasn't trained the way I should, and maybe the trainers that supposed to be training me didn't train me like I supposed to. But whose fault is that at the end of the day? And that's a big discussion, that's, That's up for debate. Okay. That's up for debate because you could say that it's up to the trainer to make the fighter do what he needs to do because he's getting paid versus what the trainer is trying to do and then really won't press the issue. Like, look at Manny Robles versus Teddy Atlas. Manny Robles was a guy that obviously he didn't force Andy Ruiz to train like he should. Therefore, he came in and damn near 300 pounds. Whereas Teddy Atlas wouldn't even allow that to happen because he's more of an aggressive trainer. And then he would have probably kicked Andy Ruiz out, just like Teddy Atlas already told him, like, this is what I expect of you. So if you don't do it, get the fuck out of here. That's exactly what's the two differences. And one thing you know of Malik Scott, like my father says, you know, this is a term. Here's a sweet tongue. Then you might say, oh, what is that about? That means you're good at pronunciating, or you're good at explaining what you want to do with a person, or what you want a person to do for you. And Malik Scott is able to convey that over to Wilder. You know what I mean? And they probably always has. It's just with Malik Scott, he never had that opportunity until now. So yeah, he has a sweet tongue because he's smooth. He has a way of executing how he wants in a persuasive way to, hey, this is how you do it. And you can even look at the training. I have never seen Deontay Wilder do what he's done with Malik Scott with anybody else. And that tells you right there. It's not saying he never knew it again. It's just what he was shown. He probably was like, fuck that. I don't want to do that. Do you guys remember back in, I think it was like 16 or 17, when Wilder started making comments about skill versus power, and he said when you have power, you don't need skill. What the hell is that about? All I need to do is release my power. Don't you feel the power? Right? So I think this is one of those things where I think he self-manipulated himself into getting himself in a situation like he got in. Now he needs someone else to help him get out. And that's what Malik Scott's for. So when people say, well, hey, he didn't know this. Yeah, he probably was shown that. That didn't mean he wanted to practice the shit. And that's what ultimately led him to his first loss. And then really, warning comes before disaster. And he should have learned from the first fight. Now, the question you ask yourself, let's say Malik Scott aids Deontay Wilder where he needs him to be, to the capacity he ends up knocking Tyson Fury out after beating him down. Okay? The question people should be asking themselves is, what if Malik Scott would have been a trainer for the second fight instead of the third? Counterpunch. And see, that gives diligence and reverence to the trainer, because he was able to communicate with Deontay Wilder and get Deontay Wilder to do the things he needed him to do to prevail in the ring. Okay, so that's what that's really about. But as far as Wilder, I think he's saying, hey, well, it's nothing that he already needs. So well, that's true. But I think he's trying to communicate that in a way that nobody can still tell me shit. So we can't avoid the overall intention of what he said in this article. That's what I believe that is. Okay. So we can keep on. He said he can bring the best out of me. He can bring it because of the brotherlyhood that we have, that friendship that we have, the ultimate tie that we have with each other, the love that we have for each other. It's like is he mad? I'm mad. If he happy, I'm happy. And that's all of us together. Somebody fucking with one, they fucking with all. And that's how it is. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so that's more of what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that Malik Scott was able to communicate, to jail, to connect with Wilder to the point that he's having Wilder to do what he wants him to do. That's the overall objective. Okay, and that's exactly what's important. So you can let a fighter believe that, hey, I did this shit, but it's up to the trainer that he can communicate with the guy and get that guy to do what he needs him to do in order to make this training successful, and then we can see what the outcome is. But anyway, that's my counterpunch on Malik Scott and Deontay Wilder. That Deontay Wilder saying Malik Scott didn't teach me anything. You guys tell me what you think. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.